Okay, this is a Nissan Titan 5.6 liter heater control valve. I have a 2011 Nissan Titan truck, um, and I like to fix things whenever I can. And here's my story. And for those of you who like to fix things, watch this video carefully, and hope you can save some money. That's the only reason I'm putting this together. This is the part. It attaches on the back of the firewall. If you pop the hood open, there are 2 or 3 or 4 videos, YouTube videos, that'll show you where it's located. I'm not going to repeat that. Now, what's kind of interesting is, well, I went to Nissan, and Nissan quoted me $180 for the part and $360 worth of labor, plus sales tax, plus something called a tool thing. I don't know what that is. So we're probably looking north of $600 to out the door fix this thing, and maybe more. So I thought, well, let me check YouTube, and I looked at YouTube, and I found a couple of interesting YouTube videos where people actually took this part apart, and I'll show you what it looks like inside. But I discovered a couple things. It's really easy to fix, but you got to be careful on what you buy and who you buy it from, and that's the important thing, because I made a mistake, and I will enlighten you about my mistake, but luckily for me, I was able to overcome it. Now, my recommendation is buy it from Amazon. I'm not getting anything from Amazon from this, but the nice thing about Amazon Prime is that if there's anything wrong with the part, or if the part is the wrong part or whatever, you don't have it. You got Amazon on your side to take it back. I made a mistake and bought it from one of these drop shippers, which I thought was a real store, and I paid more money for it, and I got the wrong part. And luckily for me, Nissan Armada, Nissan vehicles, they all have a similar part. Not quite the same, but it's similar. And they have the same, they operate the same way. So I was able to modify it. It was easy to do. I'm going to show you how I did it. All right. Now, the thing that you have to know now, this part comes with a couple of hoses. And here's the hoses, and here's a close-up of the hoses. And this part here, these little clamps on the part are not designed to be removed. But with a pair of these guys, okay, these little wire clippers, you stick them in that little hole right there, and be real careful not to damage the hose, because that's what you want to save. You clip that plastic on both sides, and this thing pops right off. All right, and you can do it on this side and that side. You just find the hole, very gently stick the point of this thing down into the hole, squeeze it. It'll break on one side, then come to the other side, squeeze it. It'll break on the other side, and then this whole plastic piece here will just pop right off. And do the same thing to both sides. This whole mechanism, by the way, is hung by, it's just one screw here. Here's the actual part, and it's a bolt that's permanently fastened to the inside of the firewall, and there's a small nut that fits over the top of it, and that's all that holds this whole thing on. So the first thing you need to do before you snip those things off is to remove this from the firewall, so you can pull it away from the firewall and work on it. All right, because it's kind of hard to work on when it's attached to the firewall. But that's the only screw that it is. It's about a 3/8 inch nut. I'm not sure of that. It's probably a metric. You need a deep socket, because the bolt sticks out about a 3/4 of an inch. So, you know, a deep socket is what you need to pull it out. You can do it with a pair of pliers, but it's a lot of twisting and turning. And there's not a lot of clearance here, but it's easy to do. Once that bolt is off, this thing will pop off, and then you can go and work on this thing to remove the hoses. And you want to be careful not to damage the hoses. The part that I got, all right, comes with these hoses. And these are the hoses that come with it. And they actually are fastened to this piece with these little clamp hoses. I mean, they're really cheap. And this hose, by the way, is a lot cheaper than the hose that comes, the original hose that's in the car. Now, these hoses go behind the firewall, and one of the reasons for the high cost of labor is because where the other end of the hose is attached to the radiator on the inside of the car, that's a lot of work. You have to remove a lot of stuff to get at those, to be able to, reattach these hoses. Like I say, the hoses that come with the car are far superior than the replacement hose. This thing's smaller in diameter, and the thing doesn't look like this. Now, let me show you what this is. This is nothing more. All right, I'm gonna open this up here, Jackie. Hold this on my hand here. Can you show that? All right, this part here comes apart. There's just 3 screws, and what happens in this piece here? Can you shine the light on it here? There. Can you look at it? You got it? So what happens here is this little piece here breaks off. It fits in here like this. All right? See that broken piece of plastic right there? This broken piece of plastic is broken on here, and that fits right here. Okay? Fits right on there. And there's a small worm gear that fits here, goes into here, and comes across like that. And then this little guy, which is broken, fits here. Now, what happens, this little motor on the bottom turns this worm gear, and inside of here, which is kind of interesting, if I take all this junk out of here, all right, is a small valve. And if you look inside here, you can see through it. Now, in the north-south position, in other words, it's up and down, if I turn it 90 degrees, you're going to see that the valve is closed now. All right, now I'll put this thing in here and I'll show it to you. As I turn it back to the 90-degree position, you see the valve open, and now the valve closes. All right. Now here's the problem with some of the YouTube videos that I saw up here. There's people that say, hey, all you got to do is this worm gear pops off, and you just need to pop it back on. Now the problem is, if you pop it back on, it has to be broken in the off position. Otherwise, the off position will move, and it might be halfway between being off and on. In other words, when you turn the heat up on your dial, all right, you might be going past the off position, and you never really get it fully open. The other option is, if you're really broke, all right, you can take this off, pull this part out, and stick a screwdriver in here, and if you live up north, you can just leave this open. All right, leave it in the north-south position, just like that. All right, if you're down in Florida like I am, you could shut it the other way because you're just going to be using air conditioning. Although in Florida we need the heat now and then, so you have to. If you leave it open, you can just go out here with a screwdriver, and when you want heat, just open it up, and when you don't want heat and you just want air conditioning, just close it off, and that's a free fix. But it's a pain in the ass, and so what you want to do is, if you want to buy this part. The original equipment manufacturer, okay, now here's where it gets kind of interesting. Now, here's the deal. When you put the new part on, the old hose will fit over the new part. Now, I got the wrong part, but the main thing that was really important is this part here. There's only 2 screws, I mean, you can see in there. There's only 2 connections, all right? It snaps in. It looks like a 7-pin connector or something like that, but it's not. It's just 2s. But it snaps in there, so you have to be careful that you don't break that pin when you remove it from the old part. All right, you want to be really careful removing that. It's pretty easy to do once you see how it's done, but if you haven't done it before, you could yank on it and break that connector, and that would be a bad thing. Okay, you don't want to do that. So you want to be really careful removing the pin from this little gizmo here and saving it, because you're going to plug it into the new one. And it fits exactly just right. Now, the thing here is that, okay, step 1, remove this from the thing. Step 2, remove these guys off of here. Now, when you want to get the hose off, sometimes once I had that off, what you got to do then is take a screwdriver and be really careful, but kind of just wiggle that screwdriver underneath here. You might want to lube the screwdriver with some penetrating oil, which is what I have here, some WD-40, and I stuck that in there once the screwdriver was in there, and I give it a shot, and then I did it in a couple different spots, and I did it over here too. Then I was able to literally grab the hose and wiggle it back and forth. It lubed it up, and once it was loose, okay, I could tug on it and it would pop off. Came right off. They tell you that it's not designed to be removed. That's malarkey. It's easy to remove. All right. So now the next thing is put the hose on the old clamp. Now, like I say, if you get the wrong part, the part will work. What I did was I put the new hose on the new part, and it was kind of sloppy because it was a smaller unit. It was probably what they sent me was something for a Nissan SUV or a smaller engine, which has smaller everything. And so I put that on. It's held in the same position. It doesn't look like this. It's actually a different shape. But I couldn't return it because when you buy from a drop shipper, if you open up the package, it tells you in the fine print, which you learn after the fact, that you can't return it. And so I paid $100 for the part where I can see it now on Amazon. It's $69. And some of them are even less than that. And it's for the actual part, not the one that I got. But the one I got works. All right, so I actually put 2 hose clamps on. I saved the hoses that were there, one on this side, one on that side. On this side over here, I put this thing back together, and I screwed it. You flop it back on, screw this one bolt back on, and you're done. You're done. You go inside your car, you start it up, everything works fine. And you don't have to worry about whether or not off is in the off position and on is full on, because it's calibrated at the factory with that worm gear. All right, so you don't have to open this up or anything. You just hook it up, clamp it up, plug it in, put the bolt back on, you're done. Okay, the whole job takes about 20 minutes, maybe 30, maybe not even that. All right, you just want to be careful. Removing this part from the hoses can be, I injured myself a little bit pulling this thing off. You got to squeeze it with a pair of pliers and then slide it back off to get it off of the piece that you bought. But, that's not a big deal. That's nothing. So, like I say, and here's the part on Amazon. This part here, like I say, they're all the same. Nissan, mine is a 2011, but I think it goes back to 2008, and I think they're still making it. And there's not a lot of difference over here. Here's some interesting photos of the inside, but I just want to see how much this piece cost. What am I looking at here? How do I close this? Okay, where's the price on this? This one here is $72 plus free shipping. All right, and that's a lot cheaper. I paid $100, pretty close to $100, and I can't return it. I know these. Like I say, when I open, you can't tell what part this is until you open it up. And if you open it up, you can't return it. So you're in one of these catch-22 deals. And so be careful buying from a drop shipper. I know even some of these people on Amazon are drop shippers, but if you buy it through Amazon Prime, Prime is on your side. If you get the wrong part, you can send it back, okay, and get a full refund and get the right part. But even if you don't get the right part and you're stuck with it like I was, guess what? It works. All right? The part for the smaller car will actually, it's the same one bolt. It doesn't look the same as this, but the plug, the electric plug, is identical. All right? And you just snap it in and turn it on, and off it goes. All right? Good luck. I hope this saves some of you some money. Like I say, you can, once you know the mystery about this thing, if you're really broke, okay, and you're, every dime counts, just remove those screws and get a little screwdriver, pop that thing out of there, and just turn it on and off just by popping the hood. It's a small inconvenience, but at least you'll have some heat and you're good to go. And when you get a few bucks, go on Amazon, buy this part, fix it yourself, save a ton of money, and have a happy Merry Christmas for 2019, right?
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. All right, signing off. This is Bill. See you later. Bye.